What's going on, fishing friends? We are excited to have the Lower Bay Fishing Report tonight. We already have 8 people chiming in. What's going on, everybody? Say hello in the chat. I'm really excited. We got some great things going on here at the Fishing Channel. A lot of interesting plans in the works that we'll tell you guys about in due time. But things we can tell you about right now, and I got a little bit of an echo here. Let me fix that. Things we can tell you about tonight. If you haven't done so already, go to the Fishing Channel YouTube page, do it on a computer or Android phone, and click that join button. It is $5 a month, but it's going to be awesome exclusive content that you'll get nowhere else. We filmed some amazing TFC Plus content recently. Shore Sharp's chiming in here. He is a TFC Plus member. And maybe Shore Sharp, maybe you can chime in and tell us about the content you've experienced so far on TFC Plus. Furthermore, we have dedicated ourselves from now until at least the end of the holidays. We had the experience and the opportunity and gift to meet a young lady, Lakeland Draheim, and her family at the Tangier Classic. Lakeland was diagnosed about a year ago with DIP, DIPG, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an aggressive rare form of brain cancer. And the Tangier Classic, the whole thing was to fund this young lady. And they were able to, they did a bang up job. Those guys, do an amazing job every year. They did a bang up job and were able to provide like $40,000 plus to the Draheims to help take care of her care. But as you guys know, with something like this, it's never enough. And there's still a need. So instead of maybe buying that extra toy for your kid that may only play with it for 5 minutes, think strongly about contributing to Lakeland's cause. Lakeland Strong, you can find it on Facebook, and her name is spelled Lakelyn. And Lady C just put up the GoFundMe link in the chat. Lady C, if you could put up the Facebook version of that, so we can be sure that everybody that watches this after this is over can see that. So just click on that link, and it should pop up on the screen, is it not? So click the link in the chat and have it show up, just like if someone were to ask a question. Okay, we'll work on that. The prize for tonight's show, we sent some of these to Captain Marshall a few weeks ago, and he tore them up. So we thought it would be appropriate to provide some of the 6-inch avocado yellow glitter 8-pack and a pack of 1/2 ounce jig heads from BKD. And let's go ahead and bring in Captain Marshall right now. And there's that link for you guys. So it's a GoFundMe link. How you doing, Captain Marshall?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good, Grant. Man, look, and thank you for sending those BKDs. I tell you, they're a pretty durable product. We're about halfway through the pack right now. We try to give them a good test run, and we're pleased with the results. So thank you for sending those.
Oh, you're very welcome. Captain Marshall, you're really tiny, and you're a pretty good-sized man. Could you turn your camera sideways so we can get a better look at those Irish blue eyes you got?
Can you see me now?
Yeah, but there's some kind of there we go. There we go.
Go.
Perfect. I can see the Saxus Road. I can see all the Tangier Sound Charter apparel in the background. You're looking good, my man.
Hey, that's what we do, man. That's what we do.
Well, let's talk about that bite down there. What's happening down in the Lower Bay?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm tired.
Well, when the captain's tired, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I like to think I got a pretty good handle on what's happening with this rockfish bite in the fall. I've been doing it for a bunch of years, but I got to tell you, my buddy Sam Sellard the other day, he ran from Anancock over to the Western Shore, and he sent me a picture of his screen. It looked like one of those screens from up the bay. The bottom's covered, and he's jigging up great fish, in 50-degree water. Well. Yeah. On the same day, we're casting artificials around the bank in 3 feet of water and catching them with regularity. So I don't know what's going on. The water temperature's yo-yoed a bit. It's down where I'm fishing in the Pocomoke sign right now. I've got water temperature right at 50 degrees as of tonight, 48.9 tonight. But so yeah, the water's warm back up. We're still catching fish casting in the shallows. On last night and tonight, I'd be scared to jump in the water because we caught them on top water, we caught them jigging, we caught them casting, and then right at the end of it, we had about a 300-yard run to get back into the river. And I was like, hell, let's troll and see what happens. And we put over those lead heads and some rumblefish paddle tails. And we trolled right down the bank edge, and we didn't even have all 4 lines in the water, and 2 of them were going off. So, wow. Fishing right now is good, and thankfully it's good all over the bay. Today I saw some bigger fish caught. I know Brad Foxwell had a hammer. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not. How big was it?
I don't know, but he must have been thick. I'm just kidding. No, he had one that looked at 40 inches or so. It was a great fish.
We just got done watching Fish Talks show on the state of the fishery, and they were just talking about how a 25-inch fish nowadays is a hammer. Are you seeing the same thing down there on the lower bay?
Well, I'm not seeing what we call squirrels. I'm not seeing the 12 to 14-inch fish that were a nuisance for the past. They have been a nuisance historically. I'm not seeing those over the past couple of days. We might have caught 3 or 4 out of 40 or 50 fish that were those real small fish. I'm not seeing those. I'm seeing a good, healthy population of the 18 to 23-inch fish. I'm seeing a great population of those 2 to 4s. And lately, we're getting a good amount of 5 to 8 pound fish that are mixed in, the 25-inch fish. And that's primarily what we target down in the Pocomoke and the lower Tangier sign right now. And fishing right now is good. I know the Maryland season ends on the 10th of December. I fully expect to, have all we want up until then. Seems to be a good amount of fish to our north, and they're moving my way. And I'm thankful for that. And they look like to be a little bit better class of fish. So, we're looking forward to seeing those. So, to my dismay, I don't understand that in my area, we're not catching very many fish in deeper water along channel edges jigging right now. My best bite, what some people would call shallow, I call deep. That 6 to 8 foot range right now. We seem to have.
That's where they're the most fun to catch.
Yeah, it ain't for everybody. You wouldn't like it, Grant.
I like it 4 to 6 feet.
Yeah,
I got on a good rockfish bite once towards the end of the summer, early fall, where we were catching 30 inches in 2.5 feet of water. It was sick.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun right now, I got to tell you. And my anglers are having success. The fish are eager, the fish are hungry, and it's working out real well. We look forward to those fish to the north coming past us. And because Virginia goes until New Year's Eve, the 31st of December. So, I'm anxious to get some folks out, in later December, weather permitting.
Yeah, you said something earlier that kind of, it kind of struck an idea with me, is that you're not necessarily a light tackle guy. You do some trolling as well.
Well, we took the lures that we were casting with, and zinged them out behind the boat, at 50 or so yards on intervals. And we're in 3 to 5 feet of water where we're trolling along at 3 miles an hour, and it's called bank trolling, and it's a real old school technique, and it's very effective. But as far as the heavy duty trolling with the umbrella rigs and all that stuff, that's not something that we do.
Yeah, it's funny that you explained it that way, because when I was primarily a kayak angler, I did almost exactly what you're talking about, that bank troll. So it's using the same light tackle lures, just putting them in rod holders and paddling or pedaling, whichever device you have to propel your kayak. And that, Captain Marshall, was a blast.
It's
Because
a
you're sitting there looking right at the rods, and when they get hit, I mean, those light tackle rods bend in half.
Yeah, and I don't take her out of gear. We're moving at 3 miles an hour, and you got a 25-inch rockfish on a 7 to 12 pound Fenwick inshore series rod, and you're pulling to 3 miles an hour plus the fish, and I do that because it keeps the fish behind the boat, and it
Sure.
doesn't necessarily I don't get tangled up very often doing that way, and it's quite a tussle, and we were
Sure.
fortunate last night and tonight as well, where we had multiple fish on at the same time and doing that, and we only trolled for a couple hundred yards, so it's kind of fun.
Well, we do have a question rolling in. Says from Kevin Biersch. Kevin, I haven't seen you on the show before, so welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. He says, have you seen any sea lice this fall?
No, I've not. I've not seen any sea lice, and I've not seen the first bit of sea lice yet where I'm fishing. And fortunately, my fish have been very healthy. I haven't seen any sores or abrasions or anything like the normal where they get nicked up over the course of their lifetime. I've seen a little bit of that, but that's to be expected. But anything that would render a fish unhealthy, that real pale, skinny fish with a big head, there's a name for it. I don't know what that name is, but a few years back we had a multitude of those, and I haven't had any of that. The fish, the stock looks good in terms of health. We're just lacking the small fish.
Carl Ward, how you doing, Carl? Haven't seen you in a bit. TFC Plus member there. He says, when was the last trout and red you caught this fall, CO?
I caught that's a great question. I caught my last red, I think the third week of October. And I believe I could have caught them after that, but I didn't try. I ran out of good bait, and the rock fishing was pretty good. And the 1st of November, I caught my last speckled trout, and that was a good one.
So, CO, it's funny that you mentioned that because Lady C pulled up one of those memories that your phone gives you. And we had one of my favorite trips that I've ever had anywhere out of Cape Charles last year, Cape Charles and Chesapeake, where we caught bull reds. We caught a ton of speckled trout. And I could have sworn that was in October. And she's like, nope, this time last year. And I thought that was strange. Is this year any different from last?
It was a little bit different in the access to good soft crabs wasn't there in the fall like it was in last year. The best day I had fishing all of last year was October the 27th. Right under I think they call it the goose moon or the hunter's moon, or the last full moon in October of last year was the best day I had all year. And but I think that was primarily due to the bait I had. We take a lot of care, and we really, when it comes to bait, we're very serious about it. We try to get the best possible bait for that bottom fishing for reds and the like that we can possibly get. We like to use soft crabs because that's what they're in there looking for that easy meal. We like to do that. We'll use peelers when we can't get those, and in the early spring of the year we'll use some hard crabs. But I think this year that the peeler run kind of stopped a little bit early. We had a northeast wind, a northeaster come in the second week of October, and that water temperatures greatly, and that pretty much put an end to the good bait that I was able to get. Where we're fishing, cut spot and cut fish don't produce quite as well. But that the 1st of November was my last spec, and I think it was the 3rd week in October was my last red.
So, we've got a bunch of questions coming in that'll probably take us to the end of the show. So before we dive into these questions, and there's some great ones coming in, let's talk about Tangier Sound Charters. How does someone get in touch with you? How do they book a trip? What's the skinny on that?
Well, you can find us on Facebook at Tangier Sound Charters for sure. A message for that. And today was a great day because I got 6 requests for Christmas gifts where we do gift certificates and those type of things. We certainly entertain that. We'd love to do it, and that gets you in at this year's rate as well, should you choose to buy something. And that's good, redeemable anytime. And you can contact us via Facebook for that. Or you can just, pick up the phone and give us a call at 410-251-7341.
One more time, Captain CL.
That's 410-251-7341. And
so folks, Lady C is going to put that in the chat for you. Go ahead, Captain.
Yep. And if I don't get back to you immediately, I'll get back to you later in the night when I get back. So that's the best way to do it. My website's not up and running yet. That's something we're working on.
Current break kayak fishing, brother. Thank you so much for logging in and watching us tonight. I've watched Current Break Kayak Fishing on Facebook for a long time, so that's really cool. He says bank trolling is the way to go on the kayak. Locate fish and cast the points. What class of fish are being found along the shorelines and mud banks now?
Well, right now, as of this afternoon and yesterday, and it's subject to change at any moment's notice. But they're the 22s to 22 to 25-inch fish seem to take up most of it. That's a good, little bit better class of fish you catch trolling. And what he said is absolutely correct. On days when I have a problem finding fish casting, we'll troll and find them, and then we'll go catch, and then we'll drop the trolling motor and try to catch those fish. So it's a good way to find fish.
Nice. And don't forget, guys, question of the night. This is as much for Captain Marshall as a reminder as it is for you guys, because so he remembers which is the best question. But question of the night gets the half-ounce BKD jig heads and the avocado yellow glitter 8-pack. That is the prize for the night. Next question is from Shore Sharp. How you doing, buddy? He asked, Captain CL, do you remember back in the early 2000s, the Fishsteria disease? I wonder what ever happened to it.
Oh, I don't think you want to get me started on that one. It's a family show, but we haven't had any of that. The Fishsteria, luckily, if it was an event, we haven't seen much of it anymore. There have been some of my friends, Captain Walton Crisfield and my buddy Bobby Graves. They both got stuck with some rockfish spines this year, which resulted in some fish poisoning, if you will. The Fishsteria, I'm not going to say I buy into that a whole lot. I think it was more hype than substance. They tried to blame it on the chicken farmers in the Pocomoke River area, of which there's only 3.
Wow. Oh, I thought you froze up for a second. We got another question coming in from D-Train. Guys, we have another minute or so, so if you want to ask a question.
I got all night.
You have all night. We have another fishing report here in a few minutes. But D-Train, good to see you, brother. I hadn't seen you in a while. He says, I don't like fishing cold weather. Me neither, bro. But I'm committing to doing it this year. But what is the best way to dress for a fishing trip in the cold?
Man, I wear my duck hunting gear. I'm a big fan of the Sitka gear, the Sitka wear. I have the bibs that I wear, and I have the Dakota hoodie jacket, and that's what I wear. And that's the question of the night, because he and I got a lot in common. I love to fish and I love to hunt, and I hate to get cold and I hate to get wet. Yeah,
I hate it as well. I've got a dry suit, a NRS search and rescue dry suit. I mean, I'd never get cold. And I've told myself this year, if it's ever a cold day and I hear the fish are biting, I'm putting that thing on. Yep. And I'm just going to overdo it. So my question to you before we close, which we're going to have to go to question of the night in 1 minute, is we've always called it up here on the Mid Bay, in Upper Bay, we've called it Rocktober, which you probably know. Rocktober is kind of becoming a thing of the past, and we're more calling it Rockvember, and Rocksember is off the hook. Are you noticing the same thing down there where you are, where it's all kind of happening later?
Yeah, it seems to be. It's earlier and later. We've started fishing, especially for the red ones, earlier than we ever have. We're catching them in March now, in the last part of March, weather dependent. And now for these rockfish, to your point, Grant, this water temperature right now is like right at 50, 48, 49, 50 degrees right now. Probably a little cooler tomorrow. But with that said, we catch them here until it drops into around 38 or so, and then we have a hard time getting them to bite. And the way it's looking, it might be a while. So as long as these water temps are good, and it has been over the past few years, our season it will extend. I fully I fully foresee Rock January as a catch and release item.
Rock you in.
Yeah, Rock 23, I guess we'll call it.
Right.
But I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to catch them with light tackle down here. Well into December, right up until the New Year's Eve drop dead date.
Yeah. Do you guys have this is I'm just adding extra questions, but do you guys have a Calvert Cliffs nuclear power plant? Is what we have in the mid bay. It's a power plant that kind of creates a warm water discharge. Do you guys have anything that creates a warm water discharge down there?
No, not here on the Eastern Shore. We used to go down to the Elizabeth River down there during the winter when it was cold and just catch some hammer specks and reds all winter. But that is not online anymore, and at least to my knowledge. We haven't been down there in a few years.
Got it. So D-Train, we're going with the is that the final answer?
Man,
D-Train,
I'm all
how to dress in the cold weather.
I'm all about a guy who's looking to go and wondering how to prep himself properly for it. So let's go with D-Train.
All right, D-Train, you are the winner of the, I've got to look at it every time because it's a long name, Avocado Yellow Glitter 8-pack. We will send that to you. You've won before, so we've got your address. D-Train used to ask the best questions like every show, and for some reason at the end someone would pick someone else's question. I was like, what is going on? And then finally he broke out, and now every time he asks a question he wins. So I guess it all comes out in a while.
I'll leave you with this about the BKDs. We use them in a little 9-foot hole the other day on a incoming tide where there was some fish stacked up. We snap jigged them, and yeah, it worked well. So
what size were the jig heads? Half ounce?
We were using half ounce, yes.
Okay. Yep. I mean, for a 9-foot hole, you could have probably even used like a 3/8 or quarter ounce.
I wanted them to go to the bottom quick. There was a lot of fish there.
Yeah, get them down there. Get them down there. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Captain Marshall, you're the man as always. Somebody alluded to it before. Shore Sharp mentioned it, how he watched the extra content that we had today. He liked today's bird fishing rules that Captain Marshall provided to us, that when you're fishing birds, you don't want to be that guy. If you want that content, it is available on TFC Plus. You just got to go to our YouTube page on a computer or Android and click the join button right next to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what to say to you. But thanks so much for watching. Captain Marshall, you want to close this out?
Yeah. Speaking of that extra content, I just did one before I came on. I know right now people are slinging artificial lures and the like, and using a lot of rubber fish like these BKDs and all. And I'm a rumble fish guy, but I just did one. I'll be sending you very shortly about how to prolong the life of your swim baits and all, so they don't slide down the hook quite as much.
Golden nuggets there for you guys. Thanks so much, Captain Marshall, and we will see everyone here in a few minutes with Cambo Trout and Lady C.
Thank you, Grant.
Take care.